Hello, my fellow handicappers. This is Weekend Handicapper from weekendhandicapper.com. In this video, I'm going to give you 5 live long shots to consider in this year's, the 2021 Kentucky Derby. The Kentucky Derby always seems like it produces some long shot prices, whether not necessarily it has to be in the win position, but at least some of these long shots I'm getting ready to tell you, consider them underneath, at the very least, in your exactas, trifectas, and superfectas, because on Derby Day, every horse has a shot. You got some head scratchers that finished in the top 4, but that's all right, because that's how we get those big payoffs. All right, let's go. Top 5 Derby long shots of 2021. And please keep in mind, stuff happens. Horses get added to the Kentucky Derby. Other ones get scratched from the Kentucky Derby. So as I record this is the top 5 Derby live long shots. Mandolin might be forgotten about for trainer Brad Cox. It's not coming into the race like it should. You know, there's not a lot of buzz about the horse because the last couple races hasn't been that spectacular, to say the least. But for trainer Brad Cox, I'm never going to discount this guy, especially these days, these past couple years on a big stage. I have confidence in that trainer. Mandolin's been shown that it likes Churchill Downs, which is where the Kentucky Derby is going to be run at. So horse for course angle, shouldn't have a problem with the distance, been working out well. Mandolin is a live long shot. Now, just in my terms, a live long shot or a long shot is 10-1 or better. This horse might be teetering around that 10-1 mark, so it's not a huge price, but still a nice long shot. So hopefully we can get at least 10-1 on Mandolin when it's post time. Obesos just got in the Kentucky Derby because some horses had been scratched or decided not to run in the Kentucky Derby. So Obesos gets in, trained by trainer Greg Foley. Local connections to Churchill Downs. The horse has had a race on the track. I think it finished 6th, so it's not like that's an angle you should use, but it should enjoy the distance, and that's always something to consider when handicapping the Kentucky Derby. Who can get that distance of the Kentucky Derby? This horse shouldn't have a problem. Its dad, its sire, Orb, won the Kentucky Derby. So if you're big on pedigree, you might want to think about that. It's been racing in good company down in Louisiana, so nice competitive fields there. It's been working out well. And then, especially for your exactas, trifectas, and superfectas, a horse like Obesos is really one to consider because it's running style. Will it have the right running style to win the Kentucky Derby? It could. It could. Typically, I prefer horses more up front or a little bit off the pace to win the Kentucky Derby. This one should be coming from late, a closer, off the pace. But my goodness, if you get enough pace in the Kentucky Derby, this horse could win. Even if you don't get that much pace in the Kentucky Derby, this horse at the end, liking the distance, shouldn't have a problem with the distance, and that late closing kick, when all these other horses that's been on the front end might tuck her out, that's how you find a nice price horse to add in your exactas, trifectas, and superfectas. So for sure, include Obesos. You should get 30-1 or better, hopefully. I'm hoping, unless too much buzz gets around this horse. But that's a great horse to use. Whether in the win position, if you think the pace is going to be that hot where this horse could close in on, or at the very least, in the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th position in your exactas, trifectas, superfectas. So Obesos got in the race, and he might make the most of it on Derby Day. Live long shot there. Another live long shot that I like is Soup and Sandwich, the 2nd place runner-up, 2nd place finisher in the Florida Derby. So finished behind Known Agenda, who was too much for the horse, but I liked that horse's race. I thought it ran a good effort. Trained by Mark Cassey, this horse should be near the front of the pace, which, again, is where I prefer horses to be in the Kentucky Derby. Will it get the distance? That's going to be an issue. There's some question of Into Mischief, the sire is it's been very successful here lately, but this classic distance, is that going to be suited for Soup and Sandwich? It's worth to take the gamble on. Tyler Gaffleone is the jockey. Now, this is going to be the first time riding Soup and Sandwich, I believe, for Tyler, but Tyler knows his way around Churchill Downs, one of the best jockeys each meet, it seems, at Churchill Downs. So that shouldn't be a factor. I don't think he'll get caught up in the moment, the Kentucky Derby moment. But I think it's a good horse, kind of lightly raced horse in terms of how many races it's ran as compared to some of these other ones. So there's a lot of upside to Soup and Sandwich at a big price. So Soup and Sandwich is another live long shot to consider. Midnight Bourbon. Look, this horse has been consistent. I've watched this horse pretty much every race it's ran down in Louisiana, and it's been running in some competitive races, and it's always competitive. Always seems like it factors in the top 3 finish positions. So definitely use this horse in your exactas, trifectas, and superfectas. I'm a little hesitant about Midnight Bourbon because the distance, again, I'm not sure if this horse will like the distance and can get the distance, and it might get caught up in an early get caught up in the early pace. But it's always consistent. So I'm never going to discount a horse at a decent price that is always consistent. I'm always going to use them in your vertical wagers, your exactas, trifectas, and superfectas. Is trained by Steve Asmussen, who hasn't won a Kentucky Derby yet, but he's a really good trainer. And who knows, this might be the year. But I would definitely consider Midnight Bourbon. Something about consistent horses that I always either am cautious of if I try to bet against, seem like they always burn me, or they always reward me in some way if I can include them in the right combinations. But the distance is a concern, but if it can judge that pace all right and not get caught up in too much early pace, I think this horse has a really good shot of winning the Kentucky Derby and or finishing in the top 3 or 4, that's for sure, and help you beef up those prices, exotic prices. So Midnight Bourbon is another long shot to consider. And the last long shot, I don't know if this is going to be a long shot. Again, long shot to me is 10-1 or better, is Medinas Spirit. Medinas Spirit's been a really good horse. That last performance, it got beat by Rocky World. Rocky World's getting all kinds of buzz. People are liking that horse, and maybe for good reason. But maybe people will forget about Medinas Spirit. Medinas Spirit, gosh, second in the Santa Anita Derby, second in the Sham, won the Robert B. Lewis Stakes. It's trained by Bob Baffert. You always got to be cautious of Bob Baffert. So can you imagine, especially if this horse goes off around 10-1 or better, which I doubt because of the Bob Baffert factor. When people tune in to horse racing these days, one of the first things they look for is, who's Bob Baffert training? Who's that white hair guy with sunglasses? Who is he training? And that's immediately what they look for. So naturally, that Bob Baffert horse is probably going to get bet down. And so I don't know if you'll get a long shot price, maybe 8-1, 7-1 maybe on Medinas Spirit. But hopefully if it stays above 10-1, it's a good consistent horse. And if we can just maybe look past the Santa Anita Derby, its second place finish behind Rocky World, which was impressive, that performance by Rocky World, then we shouldn't discount Medinas Spirit. I think it has every chance to win this race. I think let the hype go other places, and Bob Baffert, of all people, flies under the radar with Medinas Spirit and wins the race. And then I think jockey John Velasquez is going to be the jockey to Medinas Spirit. The guys won 3 Kentucky Derbies. So to me, having a trainer that knows how to get horses ready for the Kentucky Derby and prepared for the Kentucky Derby, nobody better in history pretty much than Bob Baffert, and a jockey that knows how to win the Kentucky Derby. John Velasquez has won 3 so far. So to me, those are positive factors, positive angles to consider when thinking about long shots. You got these really good Hall of Fame connections, the trainer and jockey, and it's going off at a decent price. To me, you don't want to be in hindsight looking back like, oh my gosh, that was obvious. You had the connections, you had a decent horse that could get the distance, and I didn't bet that horse, especially at nice odds. I think Medinas Spirit will be a live long shot. So let's recap. We got Mandolin as a long live shot. We got Obesos as a long live shot. Midnight Bourbon as a long live shot. Long long shot. Then you got Medinas Spirit. So that's 5, right? Mandolin, Midnight Bourbon, Obesos, Soup and Sandwich, and Medinas Spirit. Those are my top 5 live long shots. I would love to hear who you think might be a good long shot to use in the Kentucky Derby, whether it's in the win position or in your exactas, trifectas, and superfectas. Should be a fun race. This Derby is shaping up to be a wide open event. The Kentucky Derbies generally are, but it doesn't seem like any one horse is getting most. It's not a foregone conclusion, I don't think. Even though Essential Quality is undefeated, is going to be your favorite, I don't see that, it's a done deal. So who do you like in terms of long shots? Go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section below. Be looking for other videos about the Kentucky Derby 2021 on this channel, Weekend Handicapper. And until next time, happy handicapping, smart wagering.